Hello and welcome to Geekatplay Studio Tutorials. In this tutorial, we look on a material and ecosystem distribution, just small short tutorial to see how the ecosystem can be controlled by using image maps. Okay, so let's do. First, we'll create um, cube, and this can be applied to terrain. I just want to use it cube so we can create flat area. We can easy observe how they will be distributed. I'll put it down on the ground. And next, let's create the object that we will using as example, because we can use a trees, but with an object, we can easily see how the object with orientated and positioning. So for this, I will create another cube. We'll scale down and we go ahead, rename, and let's save it this as an object. So I'm going right click and go ahead, save object. Here we go ahead, name it box. Okay, after we finish saving the object, we can delete it. Right now, what we're going to do, we go ahead and open our material. And let's have several ways you can do. You can, before can use it by mixing materials, and we can use it with distribution of material. But one thing um, is kind of older way to do. I prefer more to do it with the layers. So we go ahead, add ecosystem layer, because with layers now we have a better control of environment and we have it also additional options. So let's go right now to the general options and we'll go ahead and add object we just created. Okay, right here our box, click OK. So we're populating at this point. Let me move slightly. Take our main camera, move way above, and we'll look down. So right here we can preview. You can see we have a lot of cubes and it's just distributing, however, with rotation and everything. So let's go ahead at this point and we'll see what our modifications we can apply it without distribution as a density. You know this, we can control density, how much of object we want populated. Also avoid overlapping instance. One thing what I want more concentrate, it is on a variable density. So let's enable this. And one way we can use the image is right click and go edit function. Inside the edit function, we'll add a node and we'll want to add node texture. Be sure it says project texture mapping and let's connect density to this. We'll go to grayscale. Now what we need to do is load our image. And you can do by clicking on this yellow arrow. So the one what I did, I prepare image that have just black stripe and it's have some gradient. Okay, let's click OK. And I don't want at this point change anything. One thing only I recommend, change your interpolation to the least balanced area. It will smooth out some gradients or edges that may apply to your image. So let's go ahead, leave it like this. So right here, let's click OK and we'll click populate this point. You can notice, okay, let's render. You can notice we have it one line going and not necessarily see how it's mapping. Sometimes what it does helpful if you enable the coloring. Okay, so you can see how the our material apply. Be sure when you set with ecosystem, you have it mapping set to object parametric. It will apply this stretch material. So you can see where's material applied by enable highlights and ecosystem. So what we need to do, let's go back to our ecosystem. We want inverse. So it will populate it on the light areas and won't populate on the dark. So let's click on a button invert. And this is a nice option if you have an image created and you want invert. So let's click OK. At this point, we click populate. We can go ahead, preview. Okay, we need to disable our highlighter. And you can see at this point we have it with the dark populated all the way and population is decreasing with the gradients. This is we can be better observing if we take our scale and scale down slightly. So we can have it smaller cubes, and we can see we have it consistent right here. We have it black all the way, or a white stripe because we invert, so it's populating all 100%. And right here with the gradients, the population is decreasing. You control not just the density, you also can control the scaling with the same. So let's go ahead and enable. We'll go edit. We'll create, we can connect it if you want. We connect directly to this. So let's go ahead, populate, which also you applied. You can see how we have the same consistent size here, but right here when we have a gradient, and right here the scale is decreasing. So at this point we controlling where we're populating by using image, and also we're controlling the scale of the population. So let's make other examples. So we'll go ahead, edit function, and we'll just go ahead and load a different image. Okay, we'll take a circle, and again, white area, it's where we'll populate it. So if we do right now, we should have it population outside and decreasing on the middle. So you can see this right here, and we can go ahead and inverse our image. We will have it multiply on the middle, and distribution kind of less and less, and a smaller scale also on the sides. Okay, so right here you saw how we populated ecosystem, and we controlled also density and scale. But you don't need just stop on this, you can have it other fun with this. As example, we can also populate it with offset from the surface. So to do this, let's click here and enable our function. And a couple things we're going to do. We go to add a couple filters, and we'll switch these filters to different. So we'll take one filter and we'll switch with to multiply, and we'll take another filter and switch this to offset. Next, we'll remove the constant node and connecting our node to the image we used before. So let's select grayscale. As multiply, what we want to do, it is go ahead and maybe multiply by 10. If right now, if you look, we go ahead and populating. You can see we populated kind of like cone. But if you want to make explosion, let's go to offset and maybe set to -10. So we go a little bit below. So let's go ahead and switch maybe to okay, we'll go to multiply. Let's multiply -10 in this case. So I want just inverse. And right here with the offset, I'm going to set offset maybe to 20. So too high above. Let's press 10 and see. Right here you can see we located just on below. So let's click OK. Click OK again. And we go ahead and render our image, and you can see how with the image map that we was using, we created small explosions with the particles. Of course, we can create full animated map. You don't need to use just image, you can use it AVI file, and you can animate some explosions with particles and other things if you want it inside the view. So you can notice how with the distribution and using image map by image or animation file, you can control distribution of ecosystem in 3-dimensional, also as a scale and distribution of this. Thank you for watching this tutorial from Geekatplay Studio. Please remember to visit us on the web is www.geekatplay.com.